Let's talk about customers today. I get this question a lot. Do I have to think about the customer? Or I get a lot of students who forget about the customer. And when I'm talking to them about design projects and I ask them, who's your customer? They give me the double blink, or they just look at me blankly, or they hem and haw trying to think of something off the fly. There's nobody more important than the customer. Thinking about design, you have to think about your customer because you have to think about what they want and what they need and what they wear and what they like. Okay. And knowing your customer is really going to focus you in terms of design. Okay. When you are like, oh, should I go for this color or that color, this trim or that trim, this zipper or this zipper? Going back to, okay, what's my customer into? Who is my muse? Although honestly, I kind of hate that word, but whatever. Okay. Who's my muse? Who's my inspiration? Who's my customer? What would they prefer? And that'll help guide you in the design process. If you have a clear concept of your customer in mind. On the business side of things, yeah, you're constantly addressing your customer so that they'll end up buying things later on. Okay? If you're not addressing your customer, you're losing your loyal fan base. You go to stores because you're going to expect a specific kind of look, kind of fit. And if you lose sight, if a brand starts going in a completely different direction, you stop shopping there. Okay. You get confused, like, why the hell are they doing this? And why the hell, are they doing that? And why is, like there's a lot of talk over at J. Crew about what they're going to do now that the creative director is not there anymore. And, all the restructurings going on and how they've lost sight of the original J. Crew. Like, look, I remember J. Crew from when it was a mail order catalog and all it had were a lot of brown wool gabardine. Okay. I get it. Customer profiles can shift over the course of time when something is not working, but still, every collection, you have to think again, who is my customer? Who is buying my stuff? Who is loyal to me? What do they want? What do they need? Okay. And when you have your own line, that has to be consistent every collection, unless you're doing a huge, giant move from Dowdy mail order catalog to that whole J. Crew thing. Designers I've interviewed on this channel, they're always saying, don't design for yourself, design for your customer. You might be your customer, and that might be the thing, but, you should remove your customer from yourself, even if you're kind of designing for yourself. Think about what aspects of yourself that you're designing for and focus on those things. Okay. A person is many things, but let's say somebody, wants to design clothes for their lifestyle because they're not finding it in the world. And so let's say I'm a 40-something single mom. I need clothes that go from day to night. I need to take care of my kids. I need to be active and I need to be comfortable. Let's say like you're starting to build this customer who lives this particular lifestyle. Okay. Your customer profile can be these things, and that's the beginnings of a good one. But every time something happens to you, doesn't all necessarily happen to your customer. Okay. And so you need to stay true to your customer, even if it started off as you being the customer. Last week, I talked about how I'm really interested in androgynous, unisex, gender neutral. So I'm going to have a unisex collection, andro, gender neutral. I want my customer to be older. There are so many things for pretty young things to buy and wear. Do I need to flood that market with more stuff for pretty young things? No, I do not. And I don't have anything against pretty young things, but my goal is to serve underserved markets. I'm going to shoot for women and men in their 40s to 60s. Okay. And here's the thing, it's like when you look at women's wear, in this age bracket, it's considered missy. Okay, that's the name of the category. Juniors is teens and women in their 20s, and then 30s to and upward is missy category. And I think people don't like that because of the way it sounds. It sounds stupid. What is missy anyway? It's a name for a cute girl. I don't know how it became a category for older women. I don't even know how that works. Like, juniors make sense. Juniors, younger people. Missy. Like, I know girls named Missy. Like, I don't even, whatever. Whatever. Unisex. All genders. I like that term the best. All genders, 40s to 60s in age. I'm going to say urban, because I'm not really thinking about what people need to be hiking in or farming in or living in the middle of nowhere in. Like, I don't really know that lifestyle, so we're going to stick to urban lifestyle. Okay. I'm going to say middle class. I don't really want to design $1,000 trench coats. Okay. I also don't want to design $80 trench coats. Okay. I want to design $400 trench coats where, it's attainable for middle class people, but they're investment pieces. They're going to be higher quality materials, sewn well put together, and something that somebody could wear several seasons and not have things fall apart. And you can take it to the dry cleaners, you can take care of it and it'll last a while. Okay. So I want something that addresses middle class, but I want investment pieces. So we can start thinking about, 300, 400 for a coat, not, 2K and not 80. I'm thinking not basics. And I'm thinking sexy without skin, more modest. Someone who is confident enough to throw on a statement piece with jeans. I want to be a little bit more out there with the design and explore different shapes and textures and things. I'm not a designer who goes like full avant-garde like, Yohji Yamamoto, but I don't want to do Gap basics. And for this particular collection, I don't want to do evening wear. I want to focus on day. And then like some day to night, but not really formal. When people think of statement pieces, they tend to think evening wear, like a statement piece cocktail dress. But I want interesting statement piece day wear. There's this thing where a lot of older women and some men, older women are getting a lot of attention. And, there's that woman on Instagram, the Accidental Icon, I think she's called. And she's literally a college professor who accidentally stumbled upon fame. Like, she was standing on a street corner near New York Fashion Week, I think. She was waiting for her friend to go have lunch or something like that. And she was wearing this amazing outfit and just looking just incredibly chic. And a bunch of these New York Fashion Week photographers started taking photos of her because they thought she was somebody important and famous in the fashion world. Okay. And I love that kind of thing. I'm brain farting on names, but I really want to give interesting and cool options for older women to wear. And that's not about me. This is not me. Okay. I'm not my customer. I'll probably end up like, I always do this. No matter who I design for, there'll eventually be some pieces where I'm like, oh, I'd wear that. That's just kind of what happens. But this is not me. Okay, there are some parts of it that are me, but this is really not me. Yeah, so this is kind of like a rough sketch of who my customer is and how they live and what kind of, kind of framing this collection. Okay. What are they looking for in their clothes? Something well made without being over the top expensive luxury. Because sometimes, when you buy something that's really expensive and you're not super rich and it's something that's very expensive for you, you're afraid to wear it because it's so freaking expensive and you're worried about every chocolate sprinkle and every fleck of dust that flies in the air. That can get kind of tedious, Whereas if it's something that's a little bit expensive, you will take care of it because it's expensive, but you're not so afraid to wear it and enjoy it. So something well made, not too precious. They dress a little bit more modestly, but more confidently. They'll wear an outfit and it'll take them to cocktails because it's nice enough, but it's not super dressy. Okay. And yeah, so they don't follow every trend. But not everything is classic. I'm not putting together a basics collection of classics for older people. Like I feel like there's a lot of people who do that and there's nothing wrong with it. Again, like I'm saying, like that's already out there. When you're designing, just always think what's already out there. Let's not do that because somebody is already doing those things. So that's kind of who my customer is. We have solidified some of these concepts that are going to kind of guide me in the right direction and not let me, fall too astray. And I want to show you this book because now we're going to get into this sort of collaging business. And who is better at collaging than Anna Piaggi? Shut up right now. You don't know. No, I'm kidding. She's awesome. So I like looking at some of these just to kind of get me going, get me thinking. And look at this. So these are transparent layers on top of each other. Transparent layers, but following a color story so that it doesn't get too manic. Hello, Linda. Kirsty Hume. I forget who that is. I used to know her name. Kate Moss. Moda Mondrian. I love Mondrian, but I'm so over it. Everything is like Mondrian, YSL, homage, blah, blah, blah. I see it all over the place. Freaking over it. Yeah, Mondrian is awesome, but I'm done with all the fashion references to his work. I love geometry as much as the next person, but whatever. Okay, love this. It's funny because personally, I'm trying to loosen up my line and loosen up my style and try for more loose, expressive things. So now that I'm doing, whenever I have to do these tight rendering tutorials, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to tighten up for this stuff, huh? Oh man, I miss smoking. Hello, cigarette. I miss you. It's the same outfit. You see that? It's almost the same garment. Slightly different. Let's see. 1989 version. Armani, and this is 1930. Oh, so he just knocked it off. Is that what? Yeah, that's what's happening here. Okay. Ugh, this kind of stuff makes me crazy, though. This in composition when two edges of two geometric shapes touch like that just the edges or just one point. Oh, it just makes me bananas. I like this because sometimes the deliberate pixelation of images makes the image look different, and then you're looking at this beaded bag, and you're looking at the pixelation of this sculpture, and it translates in this way. I love this with the handwriting and the hand illustrations and photographs of objects. I like that. You know, illustration as an important fixture within fashion as a way to show things off. Oh, I love that. It'll come and go in waves. You know, I think it's enjoying a heyday now. Much like Veristic oil painting, you know, we went through 100 years where it was too gauche to paint something photorealistically. But now we're coming back to appreciating those kinds of skills. And so we went through a phase where everything was about photography and exploring this new medium to us. And now we're kind of swinging back to a long lost art, which is hand drawing. And now, I mean, digital media and digital drawing is a big thing right now. I love this. You know, everyone and their mother is an amateur photographer now, and Instagram filters really help that. Not just Instagram filters, but all these photo apps with the filters and whatnot. And so, you guys know how much I love rendering lace. Now that photography is, I think, taken more for granted, it shouldn't, but it is. We're swinging back to things that are harder for people to do, which, again, is the more hand drawing stuff. Who is this? Oh, Antonio Lopez. Ugh, these illustrations are so great. Just simple line, but you're really getting the anatomy. You know, people don't get, like when they see a thin woman and she doesn't have very much muscle tone, people don't understand, like, why do you even have to learn the anatomy? You can't really see her muscles anyway. But then you see things like these Antonio sketches, and you see the subtle, you know, a little bit of that pickup in the front of the shin and a little bit of the curve of the hamstring and how it just goes in at the knee. Just like these little subtle things, the armpit and how the brachioradialis kind of curves out ever so slightly, you know, and just those little touches, you know, it just makes them look like a real human, like it looks like an illustration of a woman. Now, when you are doing collaging for your initial presentation, for your inspiration, I recommend that you stay away from too many fashion references and too many runway shots, okay? I know this is full of a lot of runway and photos of people, but that's because of what she was supposed to be doing. You know, she was supposed to be showing off trends and what's happening. And I'm really showing you this book because it inspires me in the composition and the color. Again, this whole illustration on top of photos, collage together. But I love this kind of thing where you're looking at images and it's not about, oh, how did this become clothes? But it's like, look at these textures, look at these colors, look at, you know, I like that kind of thing, you know. Or this kind of thing, this sort of mood. This texture on the right. This mood. This gesture. Look at that. It's just a slice in canvas. Oh, I love that so much. I Of this very unconventional photography cropping, like right under the nose. Oh, I love this. I mean, I shouldn't. I should try to stay away from this kind of like neat, orderly chaos, but I like how it's organized, but also not. But, your sketchbook pages should be like this in that some pages are more simple, some pages are very chaotic. Even these really chaotic ones, it sends a message, right? Look at this color story. Look at all these patterns. Look at all these brush strokes and these paintings and the collaging of all these images on top of each other, these textures and these patterns on top of each other. It's an image, you know? It's a garden that's not manicured but overgrown with ivy, and things are growing on top of other things and sprawling, and then even just laid down with tape. Okay, just slapping tape on as opposed to, neatly spray mounted on, which, has its own charms. Using repetition of elements as part of the motif. No. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to steal ideas from this. It's really kind of to just get your brain in this mindset of collaging. Yeah, eventually I'm going to start putting together my color story with some chips. I think I'll do that next week where I start pulling colors. If you watched last episode, we had episode like a TV show. I was pulling colors from the Rock and Gem book that I really love. Oh man, I love these. I love how we're pulling colors and textures from in this way. I love this. I love everything about the left page. Chanel. Yeah, Chanel is an example I use all the time when people, when I talk to design students and ask them about their customer, sometimes they bristle because they think it sounds too commercial to constantly address a customer. But, Chanel is an example where people worship her as, a visionary in terms of design and being a woman in the field and all that stuff. But she was always super cognizant of dressing a specific woman. And yeah, that started from her, her own lifestyle as well. But yeah, she was always like, I'm dressing this particular woman. I'm not dressing every woman in the world, but this particular woman. And to this day, Karl Lagerfeld goes back to the archives, always goes back to the Chanel woman. And when you watch interviews where he's talking about his work for Chanel, he talks a lot about the Chanel woman, because even up there, up at the couture level, they're always thinking about, who am I dressing? Who is the Chanel woman? It's important. That's a Blahnik sketch, right? He always does that super overarched foot with the non-existent toes. See, to me, this kind of image is so much more interesting to me than runway work. in this particular example, you can still tell that these are profile shots of a woman, but I really love it when you start getting so repetitive that you don't understand where the original image came from, and things get pushed. And oh my God, this is from the original Body Bump Comme des Garçons collection from 800 years ago. I love it. Oh, I love Kirsty Hoon back then. I love how this photograph got put into this coat. Is that the actual coat, or is that a collage? What is happening there? I need to make note of that. Is it coat or collage? This reminds me of that interview I had with Dahe where she was like, yeah, I could play with hand painting on a coat in a sample, but how am I going to mass produce that? It's my expression, it's my brushstroke. How is anyone going to repeat that in a way that I like? And so at that stage, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to digitize it in some way where you can repeat it? Or are you going to limited edition it and do 20 runs where you can do 20 coats and whatever? Things to think about. Because again, if you have to think back to your customer, think back to your company, and again, the price bracket that you're offering things, because if you are at a fast fashion bracket, you have to immediately think everything you design has to be mass producible. You cannot do a handmade anything. Everything has to be mass produced. It really fast fashion. Hello, it has to be fast. Fast turnover, quick on the trend, quick draw and all that. So again, always think about your customer and what your price bracket is and what it is that you're doing, the company that you are serving, all those things. Look at that attitude. I love that attitude. So off camera, I'm going to pull some images online of some people that I think will be fit in my customer profile. I'm going to scan some of my favorite images from the Rock and Gem book that I pulled in a previous video and print those out so that I can play with them in my sketchbook. Piaget clearly loved to juxtapose then and now a lot, kind of her style. So I'll be doing those things off camera, and we'll start pulling things together. I'm in no hurry. This is a project where I'm in no hurry. You are all going to watch me design this collection in excruciating detail. Oh man, I used to love these Tom Tierney paper dolls. Oh, awesome pants. Dress collage by Not Fabric Things. I mean, this is something fun to look at, but I would take this into a place as inspiration for something that's more wearable. And by wearable, I don't mean commercial, okay? You don't have to take it so far where you're turning it into a silk screen for a t-shirt. Okay? You can manipulate things so that it's in between something that is fast fashion and something that is more art than design. All these references to history. That was awesome. This book is this. I always one or two items. I always manage to find one or two items that I like. Yeah, one or two. Good job with that counting. So far we have our concept and our inspiration and our customer. We have some collage inspiration. We have these images from last week that I was drawing off of the grading book. We have images from the Rock and Gem book. I still want to go over these and tag some of my favorites. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and want me to continue designing my own project on video for y'all. And I hope you are designing along with me. I think it would be super fun. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Share, drop me comments and questions, the usual. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video.